On this episode of The Boss Lady, we go all the way to Hollywood. Meet the first African celebrity makeup artist in Hollywood.
So by the time the director's like, action, action, nothing was coming out, the water was coming out, the blood was coming out this way. Started, asking him and saying, hey, can you make a foundation for Africa? It was more about the climate than the skin, really. I actually failed that first gig, by the way.
Later,
I worked the Oscars, and I worked the Emmys, and I worked with Sylvester Stallone. That was my ultimate.
All this and more on this episode. From Harare to Hollywood, this is our guest on this episode of The Boss Lady.
You're gonna be nice at math though. Perfect. My name is Jackie Mgido, and I am the founder of Jackie Mgido Cosmetics. I'm based in Hollywood. I'm a Hollywood makeup artist, and this is the Boss Lady.
Jacqueline Mgido is a renowned celebrity makeup artist, stylist, and entrepreneur. She is the CEO of Jackie Mgido Cosmetics, an international makeup company with branches in Zimbabwe, Los Angeles, Uganda, and Kenya. Jackie's artistry, dynamic personality, and passion for excellence have enabled her to amass an impressive clientele of critically acclaimed artists including Denzel Washington, Gayle King, Neil Patrick Harris, John Legend, Sylvester Stallone, Jane Lynch, Snoop Dogg, Vanessa Hudgens, Ted Danson, George Lopez, and Jamie Foxx. Her work has been featured in media campaigns for Louis Vuitton, Elle and Forbes magazines, and on film and television including MTV, the Billboard Music Awards, The Real Housewives of Orange County, All My Children, Another World, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, and the Academy Awards.
Jackie Mgido is a mother, a sister, a friend, a cousin, a girlfriend, and a woman who just aspires to be something greater, because we're put on this earth to be amazing.
Yeah, she has some nice punching points. Anyway, so you are very successful when it comes to what exactly you do, but just for the purpose of everybody hearing your story, because there's so many people who might be inspired by, I'm already inspired. Before we started shooting, Jackie and I had an amazing conversation, and trust me, this is a story that you need to hear. So let's start off from Jackie's childhood.
Yes.
Where is Jackie from?
So I'm originally from Zimbabwe. I lived in a small little town called Tinwold South, just outside Harare, and it's like a farm. And I lived by myself. My sisters, my older sisters had all gone overseas. And it was amazing because I was such a fantasy kid. All I wanted to do was just watch TV and have a great time with the animals. And that right there also kind of got me into this mood of trying to understand and looking at Hollywood and wondering who's doing their makeup. I didn't even really understand makeup at that time.
Right.
And I would draw a lot. I'd draw a whole bunch. And a couple of years later, I went to the States, like my sisters would go to the States.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to be a vet because I loved animals.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, that didn't
like
work
a
out.
dog.
Oh my God, I love dogs. Love. If you go on my
like a
Instagram,
doctor.
Oh, no, yeah, I was supposed to be a doctor for the dogs.
So you're that smart, eh?
No.
Okay.
Not to be a doctor. I would be killing somebody's animals.
Pause on that. A vet to makeup in Hollywood? This just transitioned so fast, so here are a few things that you didn't know about Jackie Mgido. Now, Jackie has moved from home, Zimbabwe, and gone all the way to the United States, just like her siblings. But how did she get to makeup and, most importantly, make up in the biggest motion picture industry in the world?
Every single time I would want to look at my face and I was feeling a little insecure, there's a little powder that I would take from my mom and I'll put it on. And I just kind of knew that that is the route that I wanted to go. I wanted to make things look pretty, people look pretty. And that's where the inspiration came from.
So you moved to the States?
So I moved to the States. I moved to St. Louis. There's nothing in St. Louis. No. You can't even think of makeup. There's no makeup in St. Louis. And then I moved to Washington, D.C. And I started working, behind a counter, like linens and selling cosmetics. But I knew I wanted something more. And so at that time, my husband was like, we need to go to Hollywood because that is the only way you're going to be able to learn how to do...
Your husband?
Yes. Husband.
Is that supportive?
Yes, we've been married for we're going on to our 27th year. I know.
That's fine.
He's a good guy.
I'm not even trying to feel bad. Some of us are single out here, but it's fine.
Yeah, like he said, babe, if you're going to do this, we need to go to Hollywood. We need to do it the right way. So I went to school in Hollywood specifically for makeup, special effects makeup included, for TV makeup.
And how long did that take?
The whole course was about a year, very intense year. And then afterwards you go right into internships on movies, and that's where you really get to learn. They just teach you, it's like college, they just teach you the basics and then you go into the system.
And well, we've seen you work, and you've seen her work with lots of celebrities, but we're about to talk about that in just a bit. I want to know, Jackie, by the time you were leaving Zimbabwe to go to the States,
right.
And had you told, we had this conversation before about African parents wanting you to live a certain life. How did you break it down to your parents that you actually want to do makeup? Or was it you were so independent by then?
No. Oh my God, are you kidding? My father passed away 2 years ago, and I still think he talks to me. So everything that I do, I'm just like, everything is super strict. I think for my mom was so influential in my life.
Okay.
I would convince her and say, I promise you, college is not for me. I can't even keep the attention span in college. I really want to do art. I really love this. And my mom was like, go for it. And because they weren't paying the school fees,
they were just fine with it.
They were just fine with it. I think my dad kind of ignored it because he was so confused with what I was doing. He just wanted to know, am I making it in America? Because I think there's a point where your parents are just concerned. Are you doing something in your life? Because they hear all these horror stories about drugs and alcohol. And I was a good girl, so I was doing something in my life. So it just became a thing.
So here you were, did your course, which was like, it was more of a crash course, because 1 year is a short time to master the art.
Yeah, so the course is like 30,000 US for that year.
For 1 year?
For 1 year.
30,000 US dollars. Kenyan shillings, that's 3M. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, because like a month course is like, if you go to MUD, it's like about $11,000. And so you have to take the special effects, then you take a character course. And a lot of people don't realize how much money it costs. Because I mean, you are like going into the depth of what it is to be a makeup artist. And that cost, my husband took out his 401k, which is like a, I don't know if you guys have that here. It's like like you put in money into your retirement.
Yeah.
So we took it out early and we paid half of it. And then I went to the school and they absolutely fell in love with me. And I would pay monthly. And then one day they were just like, you know what, you're amazing. And they allowed me to pay for it throughout the courses of a couple of years.
All right. So what was your first gig?
Oof, my first gig, I did this movie with Orlando Jones. He was the Pepsi guy. Everybody called me Pepsi guy.
So your first gig was a big deal from the beginning.
It was a low budget. It was about $500,000. It was a low budget. We call it. I mean, anything that's like $500,000 is a low budget.
Okay.
And so really was a small gig, right?
Bring that $500,000 to Kenya. We shall show you. We'll show you, Jackie.
We'll show you what to do with that $500,000. But yeah,
never hesitate.
There was this director, and he used to produce other shows, and he invited me to come on. It was actually kind of like a panic because he took out money from his mortgage. You know, he took us money from his mortgage and he was like, this is my money, this is my life. And he trusted me. I actually failed that first gig, by the way. I went and hired my friends that were in the same class as me that were lazy. But because they were my friends, I figured we're gonna have so much fun in this movie, and they made every mistake.
Ouch.
Yeah.
How did you rebound from that?
Character. I remember Scott was so mad at me because he was like, this is my money. We were supposed to do this gag where somebody was supposed to bleed. So you have these pumps, and you're not supposed to put soap in the blood. It's supposed to be watery so it can squirt out. And it's such a hard thing because it's all about action. It's a one-time thing, they're bleeding, and you're supposed to be in the back and then you need to squirt it out. So I had left all this like soap on set for something else, and the people that are lazy, that don't pay attention, went and put soap in it. So by the time the director's like, action,
Done.
action,
Mess.
nothing was coming out. The water was coming out, the blood was coming out this way. And he was really mad at me. But he was like, you know what? Your character speaks. You've always been really great. And we'll figure it out.
The Fast gig, a huge flop. How did she turn around to conquer Hollywood, plus a makeover? You guys are in for a treat. Wait, that's me. Anyway, see you for that and many more after the break.